Gridiron Grinder! Hut hut hike!
All
Oh
right,
shit.
party. Whoa, what's that?
Sorry. I forgot to do something.
Okay, all right. Yeah, we are rolling now, minus that fun little start, which I'm probably not going to edit out, James, because six people watch. But anyhow, it is Gridiron Grinder time, and I'm Ryan. This is James. We do this every week, talking about what's going on in the NFL. We are going to be making our week 2 power rankings and game picks tonight, and so. Yeah, how is everything going on your end, buddy, other than the little snafu you had there that maybe you'll tell me about later?
Uh it's going good. I just got home. My day is kind of like it kind of suck because like I don't get a minute to relax. I drive home from work, change, and then have to go pick up the girls from school. So it's like go go go. So I'm kind of coming down from that and finally starting to relax.
Okay, so you're trying to wind down while we fired up with football.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, here, this will give you just maybe a little smile on your face. I got this beautiful Yahoo Fantasy Football shirt this year. I wore it on our draft night, thought it was fun. So,
Be better if our draft was in person, not randomly online with a little chat window that like you can't read. And
yeah, the chat window sucked this year, man. They made it so small and you could only like make it a tiny little bit bigger. It just was garbage. I tried to
yeah,
get a
no,
few people to do a FaceTime, and it's like my resiliency with people nowadays is just like so much lower, right? I get like two no's and I'm just like, forget all you guys. I'm done fucking trying. And so it's just like whatever, man. And it was the same thing.
yeah, well,
Before the FaceTime thing, I talked to a couple guys about, hey, because I know you're out in California, but we still got a handful of guys around here, right? I'm like, let's meet up and we'll go have a drink or whatever, and then we could do it over at my house or whatever, da 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 da. And everybody's like, yeah, maybe, maybe, maybe. And then like finally, like, a couple days before, they're all like, no. And I'm just like, oh, forget you guys, man. And so then yeah, and then I thought, okay, maybe we'll do the FaceTime, and same thing, man. A couple no's, and I'm like, I'm just done with you guys. Love you all, but done with you for now. So yeah.
I mean, I didn't tell you the story of like I think it was like eighth or ninth round. One of the girls comes in the room and starts pressing buttons and trying to
Oh
use the mouse as like clock's ticking down and I'm trying to figure out who to pick and like she
no,
fucking grabs the mouse out of my hand and
two
almost
kickers.
almost picks like a fucking almost picks a kicker in like the eighth round. I'm like, yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I tell you what, I was helping my son for the first time this year in a league, and he was like using like the little wheel on the mouse to try and scroll up and down, right? But it was on a Chromebook and like it was like super sensitive. And so when he'd go down, dude, it would go like 50 people down. And I'd be like, Bud, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like you don't want to take all those guys, man. Like you got to go towards the top. You're looking at backups right now, man. And so it was a good experience to do it with him and be able to help him.
Mine, I wasn't upset about it. Like, I mean, she just wanted attention. But I mean, Tori said she sent you the pic of a couple of years ago when
Yeah.
they had like the fantasy magazines open and were pointing, just randomly pointing, not knowing. And that's like my analytics that goes into
Oh yeah. Yeah. Who do you
Gridiron
want me to
Grinder anymore.
draft? Boom. This guy. Here we go. It's fun. It's fun. All right. Well, yeah. I mean, hey, I guess that's enough rambling, man. How about we jump into the power rankings? When you're ready, dude, give me 1 through 5.
We can thing I wanted to touch on
Oh,
is
okay. I'll slow down.
I'm disappointed in the NFL.
How so?
Freaking Jalen Carter, not suspended, only fined one game check
Yeah.
for motherfucking spitting on somebody.
Yeah, and they said that the 1 game suspension was for the game he was ejected since it was before he even played. It's like that's a
He suited up.
weird.
He was on the field. I
Yeah.
think that counts as a game played.
It.
Suspend him this week. And
Yeah.
if you see like that wasn't the only spitting incident in football this weekend. And like the college game on Saturday, a Florida guy spit in the face of somebody from what was it? Who were they playing? Southern Florida, I think.
Okay. I
Like
don't even
spit
know.
right in his face.
Not cool, man. Not cool.
And you know he picked that shit up watching the NFL. It's okay
Yeah.
for
If
the
they can do it,
NFL
I can
to do
too.
it too.
If he jumped
All right.
off a bridge, I'm jumping.
All right. 1 through 5. Little shake up here. Except for the Eagles. Eagles stayed pat at 1. They won. Like I said, they won the Super Bowl, kind of got to do a little bit more to knock them off that top perch. Washington moved up 1 spot to second over the winning Giants. I really wanted Washington here, but Kansas City was blocking them because Kansas City was in the Super Bowl, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
Number 3, Buffalo. What a fucking game was that Sunday night?
That was a great game. Yeah.
It was a great game. Fun fact about that game, that was the 17th time a John Harbaugh coached team blew a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it's
17th.
ridiculous, man. And here's the thing. I just want to sidestep for a second because a ton of people are bashing Derrick Henry for that fourth quarter fumble, right? It's like, okay, the dude did put up like 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. Let's not forget that. But also, let's not forget that their fucking defense let up 41 fucking points, man. Like, you're going to try and put all of this on Derrick Henry? Are you effing kidding me?
I put it on Harbaugh because under no circumstances, what was it, like around 2 minutes left in the game, 4th and 3, you're running all fucking day on Buffalo except for the one fumble. Lamar's running, Derrick Henry's running, 2 studs in the backfield. Why the fuck are you punting the ball to give it back to Josh Allen with only needing a field goal? If it's a touchdown, okay, maybe.
Yeah,
but
when they've already been shredding your defense all night.
Yeah, and it's like you don't give him the ball back. That game felt like the last team to have the ball would win the game. You don't give him the ball back.
No, and this is why it's so hard to pick Baltimore in the playoffs, right? They're a great team, but man, whether it's Lamar lacking that clutch ability or, which is weird with John Harbaugh because I respect him big time as a coach, but there's definitely something missing with this team, man. When it comes down to the big games, they make mistakes like it's just nobody's business, dude.
So I don't remember the third quarterback but so Lamar has won 3 playoff games. He's 3-5. They're 3-5 with Lamar at quarterback in the playoffs. Oh, I do remember it. The 3 quarterbacks that he's beaten in the playoffs: CJ Stroud in his rookie season, Ryan Tannehill, and very not in his prime, Russ last year.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, back to, I guess, 4 for you.
4th, I have the Packers. And I hate putting the Packers up here, but see,
they played a great game, dude.
They played a great game. I'm trying to figure out if the Packers are that good or it was just a hiccup with the Lions. Because if you remember last year, or both. Because if you remember last year, I believe it was the Tampa Bay game. The Lions offense struggled like that early on in the season.
I think it's a combination of things. I think Green Bay is that good, and I think the Lions' offensive line in particular is that bad. And we've got some serious concerns that and I know Green Bay's, front seven they're good and they get pressure, and that's fine, especially now they got Micah Parsons. But our offensive line went from top five to maybe bottom eight, in my opinion, from that
Mhm.
game. I mean, if it was just off of that game alone, I'd say bottom five for sure. But, you know, let's give them some time, see if they can work out these bugs. Otherwise, this could be a shitty, shitty year for Detroit, man.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about the Lions
Yeah.
later, but I have some other thoughts there.
Okay.
And then at number running up the top five, I have Kansas City. They dropped them three, and I only dropped them three spots after losing to the Chargers simply because of the fact that Xavier Worthy went out like first play. They didn't have what's his face that Rasheed. No,
Yeah.
fuck, what's
Rashi
his name?
Rice is on the
Rushy Rice
suspension, right?
is he's suspended, and they were playing in Brazil, which
Yeah.
next year, because of when Labor Day is next year, it's against the law for them to play on Friday night in Brazil.
Okay.
So it's just weird
Interesting.
tidbit.
Yeah, I got you. All right. So for me at one, I've got Philly. I moved them up two spots. And so if you remember last week, everything was based on the Madden team ratings, highest to lowest. Now that we got a week in and I've watched the games, I'm slowly starting to put my fingerprints on it. Moved up Philly two spots, Super Bowl champs, like you mentioned. They should have been there to begin with, but they're there now. At two, I've got Buffalo. I moved them up three spots. You know, we talked a lot about it. Josh Allen's a freaking legend. Three, Buffalo. I moved them two spots. Immensely talented, but they're hurting themselves. Four,
Baltimore. You said Buffalo. Buffalo.
oh, two Buffalo, three Baltimore. Thank you. Four, I put the Chargers. I moved them up massively 10 spots. I think it's a steep move. I liked the win over the Chiefs. I think their roster is stacked. I liked that they were not afraid to let Herbert air it out, which is like, kind of the opposite of everything we've been hearing about Jim
Mm-hmm.
Harbaugh, is that he just wanted to run, 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 run. Well, this game, he wasn't afraid to air it out, and look how great it worked for him. And so I'm putting him there. It's probably a bit aggressive, but whatever. I like him. Five, I've got the Packers. I also bumped them up 10 spots. It's the same thing as the Chargers, really, is that when I watched them, the quality of play felt to me that much better than so many of the other teams I saw. And I know it's week one. A lot of the analysts, I'm sure you hear it, they say, oh, it's week one. Wait until next week. It'll be a night and day difference. And you know what? If it is, well, then guess what? It'll be a night and day difference on my board again next week. So these first couple weeks, you got to shake the shit out of it a little bit to get it where you want it. And so that's where I'm at. Back to you at six, my man.
All right. So at six, I have the 49ers. They moved up three spots. I did this, and then I started hearing more and more about the
Yeah,
fucking injuries
Purdy's
in
going to
San
be
Francisco.
out.
Purdy's
Yep.
going to be out. I knew
Kittle
Kittle
out.
was going to be out.
Yeah.
Jennings is probably out. I don't like this spot for them.
These guys just cannot stay healthy, man.
Yeah. Seven, I have the Bucks. Stayed the same. They won. They struggled with Atlanta. They struggled with Atlanta a little bit. I didn't realize that they were 2-0 against Atlanta last year. I'm sorry,
Okay.
0-2. 0-2 against Atlanta last year.
Oh, gotcha.
Eight, I have Baltimore. I didn't move them. They lost to a team in a close game that was I had higher than them. But
Yeah.
also, like, I probably should have moved them because they should have won that game.
Yeah, I think eight's kind of low for them, in terms of like right now and everything. So I'm with you. There's no reason to drop them from eight, right? Like, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it was close, right? And they still, I still think that they play like almost any other team this past week. They probably win. It's just, Buffalo got them, man.
Yeah. Nine, I have the Lions. I dropped them five spots. I wasn't as aggressive as you were on it.
Oh yeah, I got sour fast. Yeah.
So you had the offensive line. issues, but also the same thing, like the same style loss happened last year against Tampa Bay, and they
Sure.
were fine. The play calling was what I saw as an issue. And I told you this, like, I thought the play calling was absolute garbage. And I'm wondering, after watching the Jets offense and watching the Lions offense, I'm wondering if the Lions kept the wrong guy to make offensive coordinator.
Well, they brought Morton in from Denver because
Right.
Ingstrom went with Aaron Glenn, and
No.
so
Engstrom went with Glenn after Morton was hired as the offensive coordinator. It was like 2 or 3 days
oh, I
later
didn't
he was
know that.
hired.
I thought it was the other way around. But and hey, that's fine. But my thing, James, is it's the offensive line. When you looked at how quick they were on Goff, and then when they were running the ball, there was not a lane to be found. And PFF already came out and like crushed our interior three with like some of the nastiest week 1 ratings, right? And so it's like, the bottom line is if those guys don't figure it out, we're going to have a problem. And I was actually just talking to someone about, hey, I like Glasgow. He's like way past his prime, and I would prefer him to be like a sixth man in the rotation, right? But, the thing is, he was decent. I wouldn't say great, but decent at left guard last year. We probably need to be thinking about how do we move him back and get somebody else in at center, because
Mm-hmm.
then at least you have 3 of the 5 positions like mediocre or better. Right now, they only have 2 positions that are decent. The other 3 are like bottom tier right now.
Yeah. And so I looked it up to verify it. On January 30th, Morton was hired as the offensive coordinator. On January 31st, the Jets hired Engstrand as their offensive coordinator.
Gotcha. That's fine. It's good to know. All right,
But
and then you got I think Los Angeles at 10. I don't think you said them yet, did you?
I didn't say the Chargers. I moved them up 5 spots. I wanted to move them up more, but like I said about Kansas City, I think part of it was Kansas City versus the Chargers. I want to see a little bit more to get them up higher. If they go out and they dominate again this week against who the fuck they playing this week? It's against Vegas. Then I'll probably move them up 3, 4 more spots.
I gotcha. All right, so then for me at 6, I got Tampa Bay. I moved them up 1 spot. I thought that game was just about what I expected to see. 7, Kansas City. I dropped them down 5. Probably a little bit too abrasive, but I also think that they won a lot of games out of kind of like luck or
Mm-hmm.
circumstances last year and kind of got to skate their way to the Super Bowl. You can never put anything past Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, right? But I just, you know, I'm just not like super thrilled having them in my top 3 forever, right? It just they deserve to get pumped down too. So at 8, I've got Washington. I moved them up 1, and for a minute there, I thought about keeping them where they were at just because I thought they really should have crushed the fucking Giants, and they got like really stale in that second half, man. But that's okay. Still look good coming out of the gate. 9, I've got Pittsburgh. Moved them up 1. That's fine. I still just don't really trust Aaron Rodgers. And I told you that bullshit of that little, flip forward to whoever. I'm like, come on, man, that counts as a touchdown. Like, I know the rules, but you're just padding his stats is basically what's going on. And then at 10, I've got Denver. I moved them up 1. I will say this: that game was a bit of an eye opener for me because I've been riding the Denver hype train so hard this offseason. And now I'm a little bit nervous about it. And I think a lot of it is Bo Nix looked really antsy in the pocket. Like he was just like maybe, he just needs to calm himself down a little bit, right? Like he was just like going way too fast. If he can settle in, I still think they're going to be a dark horse team this year. If he can't settle in, I don't know, man. I'm going to have to change it because the defense looks great, right? But that offense could be pretty streaky if Nix doesn't calm down and find himself. which he should. I mean, he had a great rookie year last year, but just first week point out. So back to you at 11, man.
All right, 11. Speaking of the Broncos, I left them the same. I consider moving them up, but to be honest, they struggled with Tennessee in a game they should have probably won by more than one
Yeah.
touchdown. 12, same thing with Cincinnati. They won, but they barely beat Cleveland. Like you said, I think it was like you said,
Yeah, they
if
didn't
it
win
weren't
it.
for
Yeah.
the kicker
Cleveland.
lost the game. Cleveland
Yeah.
lost the game. And it was a tale. This
It
weekend's
was,
games were a tale of kickers.
dude, and it wasn't even just the kickers. Flacco's 2 picks were tipped up by his receivers.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, dude, like I mean, it just Cleveland should have won that game. Kicking
Mm-hmm.
issues aside, it's like, yeah, the kicking thing was horrible, right? The guy missed an extra point and a field goal, but 2 turnovers because of your own guy's mistakes. It's like, dude, you can't do that stuff, man.
Oh, exactly. 13, I have the Rams. I didn't move them off of the win because I thought that it was too close to really move them.
Sure.
And then 14, Seahawks. I dropped them 8 spots. Probably a little bit aggressive. I just did not like what I saw.
Okay.
On them.
Yeah,
15,
Darnold kind of looked dicey, yeah.
Yeah, 15, I have the Texans. Dropped them 1 spot after losing to the Rams.
Okay. Yeah, on my end, I've got the Rams at 11. And so I bumped them up 1. It was kind of just a standard, hey, they are who we thought they were kind of thing. I'm going to give them a bump on the win. At 12, I've got the Vikings. I dropped them 4 despite the win. And this is just a board recalibration for me. I don't feel good about how they got that win because I felt like Chicago actually controlled most of that game. McCarthy for sure could end up being a lot better, and I know, I mean, part of the reason they won it is because of him, but also part of the reason that they struggled for like 3 quarters was because of him. And so if he can get consistent, which he's still young, like we talked about, it's basically his rookie year. If he can find some consistency, I'll feel way better about Minnesota because their defense is exactly what we thought they were going to be. And they've got 2 great running backs, great receivers, tight end. I mean, they got everything you need. They just need the quarterback, right? 13, I've got the 49ers. I dropped them 7 spots. The win is okay. It did seem a little bit lucky, like that Brock Purdy pass to the corner of the end zone. The tight end got it. Like some of that stuff just seemed a little fluky to me. And now you got all the injuries. And so I just dropped them hard here. And I'm going to see where we go. 14, Houston. They go down 1 on the loss. I think the big story for them is the offensive line. It's similar in nature to me as the Lions. This is, except, I mean, they're a defensive team and whatever, but they got Stroud and Nico Collins and weapons on offense. But if they can't figure out that offensive line, they're going to have a really choppy year, man. And then that's where at 15, I've got the Lions. I dropped them 11. Yeah, is it harsh? For sure it's harsh. But you know what? I got freaking 40-something years of Detroit Lions PTSD of them not being able to like stay good, right? And so when I see the offensive line break down that bad, to me, you throw everything out the window, man. And so will they adjust? Will they teach these younger guards, how to watch these crossing moves and things like that? I'm sure they will. But until they show it to me, I'm bashing them hard, man. That's all it comes down to.
All right. For me at 16, I have the Steelers. I moved them up 1 spot, beating the Jets. It's more of the fact that I took somebody from the 16 and dropped them down versus really moving Pittsburgh up. Same thing with the Raiders. I dropped two teams that I had ahead of them down. They moved up 2 spots. Jets, they moved up 3 spots. I really liked what I saw out of the Jets. I thought the Jets were going to win that game.
Yeah.
And Justin Fields looked really good. If it weren't for a fucking sweet ass play by Ramsey on that 4th down, like the Jets were driving the field. They would have at least gotten a field
Yeah.
goal.
No, and I agree that the Jets were in control like until what, like I don't know, in the third quarter they had that was it a kickoff or a punt? The dude Xavier Gibson had the fumble, and then it was like
Mhm.
they had like a weird offensive series like right after that, and it was just like whoa, it was like they had like two things like right in a row go from okay, you've got double digit lead to wait a minute, what the hell's going on now? And it just seemed like from that point on, it was a dogfight, and they just couldn't get back on top.
Yeah, no, exactly. At 19, I have the Vikings. I moved them up eight spots. But here's the thing that I would say about McCarthy. Early on in the game, when he was struggling,
Yeah.
like if you go back and watch it, they were lining up with 10 seconds or less left on the play clock, and
Okay.
he was having to rush and get the play off, and what didn't have the chance to read the defense. In the fourth quarter, he started having 15 seconds, and he had a chance to look at the defense, and that's when he started to really excel.
Okay.
I think the coaches and the how the plays were coming in, and because they were waiting for the last minute, trying to give him all the information they could. I think that hurt him,
Okay.
but we will see. 20 Falcons, they dropped 2 spots. Atlanta should have won that game. Fucking Young Wei Koo missed the field goal. Ridiculous. You
Yep.
can't do that. And it's the tail of kickers. Young Wei Koo missed a field goal. McLaughlin missed an extra point in a field goal. Cleveland missed an extra point in a field goal. Fucking Baltimore, I think, missed an extra
The
point.
rookie. Yeah.
Moody with San Francisco missed had a blocked field goal and a
And they
missed
finally
field goal.
waived his ass, man. He's been
Oh, they
stinging
did.
them for too long. Yeah, they waived him today.
Um, and like, see, I hadn't heard they waived him. I heard they signed Pinheiro, but I didn't know. I didn't hear that they waived him. It's good because they need to
Yeah.
get rid of his ass. But that was kind of like a lot of these games were swung by kickers not doing their job, or in the case of Prater, a kicker who's been there for what 3 days that hasn't even met the entire fucking team, goes
Yeah.
on the field
Yeah.
and
He's like, guys, it's crazy that I was on the couch and didn't have a job. Just put me in, coach. I got this covered. Uh,
he was fucking keeping himself sharp by kicking field goals on a high school field.
yeah, I heard that, man. I heard that. Good for him. Good for him.
Yeah,
I mean,
smart, good for him.
he probably didn't even need to do that, right? Because he's been kicking for like 17 years or some shit. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was still good, man. I liked Prater, man. I know he had
Mm-hmm.
some weird fallout in Denver. He was great for the Lions. He's been great for
His fault,
Arizona
no,
for a long
his
time.
fallout in Denver. It was a PED suspension.
Yeah, there was a a pretty wild story about him showing up inebriated for a game, buddy.
See, I didn't hear. I hadn't heard that one, but I know he was suspended in um for
I
four
don't have
games for
concrete.
oh
Yeah, I'm
sorry,
not gonna
not
say.
PED, violating the substance abuse um violating the NFL substance abuse policy.
Yeah, and so that is, I heard it was that, and it was him being under the influence either at a preseason game or I don't know if it was a regular season game. And like I said, I don't have concrete evidence on that. That's what I heard. I heard there was some doctor that leaked something about putting him on, some kind of medicine to try to help him with his drinking because apparently he had some kind of problems that people had known about. This is all, as far as I'm concerned, hearsay, whatever. It's just, I'm sharing the rumor that I heard because it was a fairly abrupt departure from Denver where he was very, very good.
Yeah. So he had a DUI arrest in 2011, and he received a 4-game suspension from the Broncos for violating the substance abuse policy by drinking, quote, a couple of beers during vacation.
Okay. Maybe what I heard has been embellished, but yeah. I mean, we saw Diggs handing out pink cocaine to chicks on a boat. Like, come on, You're going to give a
So
guy a suspension for drinking a couple beers?
no. So he because of his DUI arrests, he was placed into the substance abuse program, which prohibited him from drinking alcohol.
Okay,
So
that makes more sense.
yeah, and so the league was going to suspend him for the entire year.
For a DUI,
No, not for the DUI, for
for
drinking two beers
drinking.
on vacation after 3 years after the DUI.
Seems a bit extreme. See, that to me tells me that there's got to be more going on to it, James, because there's fucking zillions of people with fucking DUIs, man.
Yeah.
Either way, that's fine. All right, so you got through 20. At 16, I've got the Colts. Might be a little bit much, but I moved them up 6 spots. They just played very sound football, both sides of the ball, and I'm sure part of that is that Miami shot themselves in the foot and looked horrible. But I wanted to give Indy a boost here because I do think they have the talent. They've just been missing the quarterback for the last few seasons. 17, Cincinnati. We covered it. They didn't win. Cleveland lost. That's just how it went. 18, Atlanta, didn't move them. Hard fought game, lots of potential. I didn't think they needed to be dropped. 19, Dallas, I didn't drop them either. They played surprisingly well against Philly. I liked how well they ran the ball in particular. I think that that's, potentially going to be a game changer for them this season. And then at 20, I got Seattle. I also did not move them. I felt like it's just a little too soon to get a feel for them either way. And like I said, that, the 49ers win felt kind of fluky to me. And so I just, I need another week to better evaluate. But that's enough of that. Back to you at 21, my man.
All right, 21, I have the Patriots, dropped them 1 for the loss. 22, I have the Colts. I moved them up 7. I wanted to be even more aggressive with them, but the thing I go back to, and it's going to get when we get down later, I'll mention it more. But it was more looked Miami was unprepared than the Colts really were that good in the game.
Okay.
23, Dallas, they lost to my top team. I'm not going to move them. They kept it close. 24, Jacksonville, moved them up 1 off the win to Carolina because I had Carolina ahead of them. It's just kind of a natural. They won, so they move up. Arizona at 25, they won. Carolina was ahead of them so I moved Carolina down. So I'm sorry. Yeah, Carolina was ahead of Arizona and Jacksonville, and I moved Carolina down. So Arizona naturally got a 1-spot bump.
Yeah, do a little flipperoo. I got you. All right, well, we're coming up on our 10-minute timeout here. So when we come back, I'll give you my 21 through 25. Okay, bud?
Yeah, sounds good.
See ya. All right, we're back, and I am going to pick it up here at 21. So I've got the Jets. Did not move them. I thought it was a solid game despite the loss. 22, I've got the Dolphins. I dropped them down 6. It was a horrible, horrible start for them. They also, as we're talking about some of these teams, very clearly have some offensive line issues. 23, Chicago Bears. I see glimmers of hopes for this team on both sides of the ball. I didn't move them even though they lost. 24, Arizona Cardinals looked stale for most of the game, but you did see some Kyler Murray flashes and some defensive flashes. And so I don't know, man. Every time I want to think they're a middle of the road team, like they just don't play good enough for me to like just feel the conviction behind that. And so they're staying where they're at despite the win. And then at 25, I've got the Jags. I moved them up 3 spots. I'm trying to be a little careful about it. It was nice seeing ETN rip it up on the ground. Is Liam Cohen what this offense needed? Maybe. Or did they just play a really shitty Carolina team? It could be a lot of things, right? And so you're looking at me weird here?
I didn't hear a damn word you just said. You just froze. You said, is Liam Cohen what they needed? Or maybe.
Oh, well, hopefully you can hear me now. And either
Yes.
way, Jacksonville at 25, back to you at 26.
All right, 26 Panthers. They lost to Jacksonville. I dropped them 2 spots. 27 Bears. Let's be honest. I was looking for a reason to put the Bears in the bottom. I was just looking for a reason. Fuck Ben Johnson. 28. They dropped 11 spots. 28 Tennessee. They lost to Denver. Stayed the same. It really is, if you look at it, kind of a 1 spot drop, but then I moved Miami down 7 spots to 29. So Tennessee stayed the same. Miami looked unprepared. What the fuck's his coach name? McDaniel? Not McDaniel.
Yeah, Mike McDaniel.
Mike McDaniel. I get McDaniel, McDonald, O'Connell, like all these fucking whatever. He even called it out. He claims they prepared. It didn't look like it. It looks like they were surprised the season was starting this past Sunday. 30, I have the Saints. They lost. They stayed the same.
I got you. All right, at 26, I've got Cleveland. I didn't drop them. I thought they played hard, even though they shot themselves in the foot. You know, the thing is, with if they play that game again and they reduce a couple of those errors, they could easily be 5+ more spots higher on my board. Are we going to get that all year? Probably not, because we know Flacco is like way, way past his prime. And even though he played a great game, you know, next time those picks might be his fault and not the receivers. And so it's hard to say, but I didn't want to drop them, right? And so then at 27, the Saints, I moved them down 2. You know, Madden likes their roster. And I told you last week, I just wasn't comfortable with it based on the quarterback situation. You know, this could be a situation where as the year goes on, they get better because, you know, Kellen Moore is basically going to force whoever is in at quarterback to throw the ball 40-ish times a game, which will in some ways like kind of make them get better just by having a ton of experience week in and week out. And so, you know, that could just naturally boost this team as the season goes on. 28, I got the Raiders. I moved them up 3 spots. 29, I've got the Panthers. I dropped them 2. Man, they looked really bad. 30, I've got Tennessee. I dropped them 1 spot. Rookie quarterback, you know, I thought they played Denver hard. You know, it's just rookie quarterback issues, man. Back to you for the dumpster fire.
Dumpster fire didn't change. I really wanted to, but they both lost, so I just left it the same. Giants at 31. It's time to play Jackson Dart. Browns at 32. Flacco, or I'm sorry, it's time to get a new kicker and maybe put Dylan Gabriel in.
I thought Flacco played well, man. The receivers let him down.
I'm just saying it's time to blow it up. Like,
I'd be fine with them blowing it up. Yeah. And by the way, with the Giants, you know, because all right, so my dumpster fire, I got the Patriots at 31. I dropped them 1 spot. The Giants at 32. The Giants are another team whose offensive line looked like freaking dog shit trash, right? And so we're seeing, you know, this past week, I watched a ton of football. I'm sure you did too. The teams that looked the absolute worst were the teams that had the, like, by far and away worst offensive line play. And we talk about it every year. You have to be strong in the trenches. If you're not strong in the trenches, you better have like fucking Justin Fields or Lamar Jackson that can run for his goddamn life, or your offense is never going to be able to do shit consistently.
No, 100%.
All right, man. I'm sorry. I'm just, you know, still bitching mostly about the Lions. But let's go and let's do our game picks, my man.
All right. So fucking shitty week for me. Decent week for you.
Week 1. It's okay.
Week 1. I got 8 right. You got 12. Fuck that. I got 50%. You got 75. Whatever.
It's all good, man.
This week, I, for the most part, went straight line with my power rankings.
Okay.
Couple games I flipped, but for the most part, straight line with my power rankings. First game Thursday night, we have Washington Commanders at the Green Bay Packers. Yeah, Green Bay looked good. Yeah, it's in Green Bay. I like the Commanders team. I think the Commanders are the class of the NFC this year. I think it's going to be a great game, but I'm going to go with the Commanders.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm going Green Bay, and I appreciate you explaining your methodology. For me, last week, we talked about was all based on the Madden ratings, and that formed the power rankings, and I tried to, give a little home field advantage in here and there, whatever. And I had one override. This week, now what I did is updated my power rankings, used that for my baseline, but knowing that I still probably got to gut them another time or two early in the year, I tweaked what the Madden ratings were based on my feel for the teams, and I used that as sort of like a second reference point. And so I kind of am working on a little bit of a hybrid thing this week, just to give you my methodology. But yeah, for this game in particular, I got Green Bay. I thought they looked great. It's in Green Bay, and and so yeah, that's all I got to say about that.
Next game, Browns at the Ravens. As long as the Ravens don't get up double digits, I think the Ravens will win this game.
Oh, you don't see a Joe Flacco revenge game here, James?
I don't.
Oh my God, it would be amazing. I would, I wouldn't even be mad that I'm picking Baltimore to win. I wouldn't even be mad.
I would fucking love it, but
yeah. But yeah, I mean, how do you not take Baltimore? I'm taking Baltimore. It'd be you're just like wildly calling an aggressive random pick if you pick Cleveland. That's all you're doing. So yeah, Baltimore both ways.
Speaking of aggressive picks, this is one of my overrides this week.
Okay.
I talked about it a little last week. Cincinnati under Zach Taylor. Zach Taylor? Yeah, Zach Taylor. Is now they're 2-11 in weeks 1 and 2. The other time their first win before this year, they were 1-11 through weeks 1 and 2. They won week 1, lost week 2. I see.
Okay.
I'm hard pressed to think Cincinnati is going to, with that track record, Cincinnati is going to start out 2-0. I really can't. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be totally surprised if I'm wrong on this pick, but this overrides just on gut feeling and history with Cincinnati starting the season.
I gotcha, and that's fine. I had to respect my process for the week, and I'm still taking Cincinnati, but honestly, I wouldn't be surprised with this game because, like we talked about, Cincinnati should have lost last week. So anything can happen, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm going to look it up for myself for later. I wanted to look up who they played the last time. Whatever. Anyways.
Okay.
I wanted to Google it so I have it so I can look at it in a minute. Next up, we have the Giants at the Cowboys. As long as Russ is starting for the Giants, they're not going to win. Cowboys.
I think like I said earlier, I like what Dallas is doing running the ball. I think it gives their offense a lot of balance, and it makes their passing game more powerful when they have to use it. And so I think that the bottom line is they're going to be able to score points. The Giants have not shown any reason to believe that they can score points so far. And I know it's only been 1 week, but their offense was so anemic. The offensive line was horrible. No running game. Tons of pressure on Russ. He was running for his life trying to throw the ball. It might be better with Jackson Dart, right? Because he's a little younger and sprightly and could maybe move around a little quicker. But I still think that they would struggle. And so either way, I'm going Dallas. What are you thinking about flipping here or something, man?
No, I just doing a little bit of my research, got distracted. All right. Next up, we have the Bears at the Lions. Fuck, if the Lions win this game, they're going to like 27 on my power rankings. If the Lions lose this game, they're going to like 27 on my power rankings.
Yeah.
I'm with the Lions in this game, but I can't. Fuck, they can't start 0-2.
I'm taking the Lions, James. I have very little confidence, to be honest, because when I watched Chicago play Minnesota, I don't know, dude. I thought they were a better team. I'm just going to be honest. I think it helps that it's going to be in Detroit. I'm sure Dan Campbell is firing up the troops, and they're going to throw everything they can at this game. But I'm 100% with you. If they lose, I'll drop them down another 11 spots. I don't care. I mean, that will be it. It'll be, hey guys, you're, a 3 to 5 win team in my mind, unless you just start railing off wins and beating the shit out of people again. And so, yeah. So I'm nervous, fully nervous about Detroit, but I'm taking them.
All right, so I found it. It was 2021 last time Zach Taylor won in week 1. They started the season at home against Minnesota.
Okay.
And they won 27-24 in overtime. And then they went on the road to Chicago and lost 20-17. That was a 6-11 Chicago team and a 8-9 Minnesota team.
Gotcha.
So, anyways, all right. Then we have the Patriots at the Dolphins. The Dolphins. So both these teams were close. Wait, no, never mind. I'm sorry. My mouse was over a different one. I thought it was over there. All right. So the Dolphins look ill prepared for that game. The way they looked, I think McDaniel could be the first coach fired this year. I think McDaniel, if they continue to play like they did in week 1, I think McDaniel will be lucky to make it past 4 games.
It'd be nuts, but it could happen. It sounds like he's already losing the locker room. And part of it is Tyreek Hill's a bad seed, right? He's already been talking shit.
See, I hadn't heard. I know something happened with Tyreek Hill. I hadn't.
Well, he's got that domestic violence thing going on in the background, but he was already running his mouth about problems with Tua connecting with him and whatever, and he's just not happy with the offense, man. So, go ahead.
So with Miami, week 4 is the Jets. So they play. They lost to the Colts. Looked like shit. They play 3 division games.
Yeah, Patriots, if you're 0-4 with 3 divisional losses, yeah, that could be it.
And then it'd be a good time because the following week they play the Panthers.
Yeah, breaking your interim guy on the Panthers. I like that. All right, and maybe trade for a quarterback. If Tua's not there, I don't know. I mean, Tua, when healthy in the past, has looked great, but healthy week 1 did not look like Tua. So, despite all that, I'm taking Miami. In my model with my power rankings and everything, it being in Miami, I got to take Miami. And the Patriots didn't really show me enough to suggest that I need to override right now. So,
all right. Then we have the Niners at the Saints. I was tempted to pick the Saints in this game, especially with Purdy being injured.
Okay.
But I think the 49ers did the right thing in going out and signing Mac Jones as their backup quarterback. I think under Shanahan, Mac Jones can excel. I think they're going to regret the contract to Purdy because I think Mac Jones is going to step right in and run that offense even better than Purdy did.
It could
And
happen, man. It could happen. And honestly, with the way that they have guys getting injured, that'd be a great scenario for them. So,
I'm on the 49ers.
yeah, and I'm taking the 49ers. This week will be one to watch. How good can they play with all the injuries, right? And so the Saints still don't have a quarterback. And, I think the Saints, they're going to get better. Like, as I said, they're going to get better as the year goes on, but it's too soon for me to warm up to them. And these teams are still too far apart on my board to try and do any kind of an override. So 49ers it is.
Then we have the Bills at the Jets. And I'm going to preface this with, I would not be surprised if the Jets won this game. The way they look, the way their defense looked pretty good for the most part. It's for 3/4 of the game against Pittsburgh. That offense was humming. It was humming. I would not be surprised if the Jets won this game. With that being said, I can't pick the Jets to win this game. Maybe later in the season, I might consider picking the Jets over the Bills after I get a bigger sample size on the Jets. So I'm going to be with the Bills.
Yeah, I agree with you. Everything you said. I'm taking Buffalo. Maybe as the season goes on, as they kind of converge a little bit on my board, I could flip it or something. But for right now, got to stick with the Bills, man. I've got them way too high.
All right. Then we have the Seahawks at the Steelers. Now this is another one of my overrides. I have Pittsburgh at 16 and Seattle at 14. I have them really close. I went with the home team in this one because I think that 2 spots is like a home team could overcome like 1 or 2 spots in the power rankings. So I'm going to go with Pittsburgh, even though I don't like picking Pittsburgh to win because I fucking want Aaron Rodgers to fail. But I will pick Pittsburgh.
We are very much in alignment, James. I am not a Rodgers fan, but I am picking Pittsburgh in this game.
Then we have the Rams at the Titans. I think this could be an interesting game. I didn't like what I saw out of the Rams against the Seahawks, but I'm going to chalk that up to a divisional matchup, first game of the season. I kind of liked a little bit of what I saw out of Tennessee and Cam Ward. I'm starting to warm up to Cam Ward as a quarterback. I need a bigger sample size on him, see him play more consistent to be able to pick an upset like that. So I'm going to go with the Rams.
Yeah, I'm taking the Rams here. They're fairly spread apart on my board, but I can see the Rams getting similar kinds of pressure on Cam Ward as Denver did last week. And I think that'll make it hard for Tennessee to keep up. We know that the Titans defense is good, but the Rams offense is really good as long as Stafford stays healthy. And so they're going to put up some points, and I don't think Tennessee's going to be able to keep up. That's the bottom line.
Yeah. Then the Panthers at the Cardinals. Look, the Panthers are a shit team. The Cardinals are inconsistent, but they're proving to be a little bit better. I have them ranked 25 Cardinals, 26 Panthers. If Carolina was the home team, I might consider going with Carolina, but since it's in Arizona, I'm going to go with the Cardinals.
Yeah, you make a good point. If the home team was flipped, you could make the argument. I've got them 5 spots apart on my board, so even if that was the case, I'd probably still stick with Arizona right now, but I like your argument. And, I'll just be honest. I was a little bit bummed out with Bryce Young, man. And I know it was just one game, but I thought with the way that he kind of turned things around last year, maybe we were going to finally see him really actually turn the corner and just keep going with it. For him to start off that slow again is just like, dude, this team's not going to give you a million chances, man. It's the time it's running out for him.
It is. I'm surprised he's got as many chances as he's gotten.
Yeah.
All right. Then the Broncos at the Colts. This is another one where if the Broncos play like they did this past week, and Daniel Jones plays like he did this past week,
Oh yeah, it flips. Yeah,
I think the Colts can win this game, but I'm counting on the Broncos figuring it out a little bit more. I'm counting on Bo Nix settling down a little bit more, and I'm
yeah.
counting on Daniel Jones
Daniel Jones going back to Daniel Jones a little more.
regressing back closer to the Daniel Jones we know, not the aberration of what was it, 2022?
Well, let's be real. He's about to play arguably the top defense in the league. So it's going to be real hard for him to repeat what he did last week.
Yeah.
So I'm going Denver, but I agree that if Denver's offense sputters again, it could make it a closer game than it should be.
Was it 22 or 21? It was 22.
You're talking about what, the Dable year when he had like 700 rushing yards?
Yeah, like when he got his. It was 20. It was 22.
Yeah, when he got paid after.
Was it 22 or was it 23? It was 23.
I think it had to be 22, right? Because 24 he was with the Vikings.
Yeah, it was 22. You're right. Anyways, and we have the Eagles at the Chiefs. I'm very, very, very hard pressed to see the Chiefs starting 0-2.
It would be wild.
If the Chiefs beat the Chargers this past week, I probably would have gone with my power rankings and picked Philly. But it's hard for me to see the Chiefs starting 0-2. If the Chiefs start 0-2, it'd just be crazy. Like, I think, like, the world would explode. Like, everybody be out on the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Like, if the Chiefs start 0-2, they might
trade
be
Mahomes. Yeah.
They might be the fourth best team in the division. Like, that's how bad an 0-2 start for the Chiefs would be. I don't see that happening. I'm going to pick the Chiefs.
That's fine. I'm taking Philly. I'm going to respect my board. I've got them just far enough apart that the home field doesn't come into play enough for me to flip it. And so, I want Philly to keep rolling, man. And I think they are. I think, just looking at the two games from week one, Philly, in my mind, looked that much better. Kansas City looked like they got some shit they got to work out. And so it's easy for me to respect my board, man. I'm going Philly.
Then we have the Falcons at the Vikings. And this game, I'm counting on fourth quarter McCarthy versus first three quarters McCarthy, where they kind of let him settle into the game. I think that will happen, and I think the Vikings will win the game. And I have them far enough apart that like home field wouldn't matter, or I wouldn't feel comfortable picking an upset. I think Atlanta showed flashes. If it weren't for their kicker, surprisingly one of the most accurate kickers in the league, who knows? They might be 1-0, but
yeah. Hey. I mean, whatever happened, he hurt his hamstring last year, hasn't been the same. But this game, yeah, I'm picking Minnesota as well. The way that they stack up in my board and my ratings here, it is like way too close for comfort. But I'm going with Minnesota. I will say Atlanta, man, I liked what I saw out of Penix. Sometimes you never know, right? He won the job last year, but it was a smaller sample size. And, I could have just as easily seen it being a disaster in week one and being like, well, fuck, here we go. When do you bring Cousins in, right? But no, Penix looked good. He looked poised. Bijan Robinson had a great game. I mean, it just to me, the board just barely gives it to Minnesota right now. So that's where I'm going.
This is the Sunday night game. Fucking JJ McCarthy's first two starts are prime time. That's crazy.
Yeah, what the hell, man? What the hell? That's a good thing to point out there, man.
All right, then we have a Monday night doubleheader. First game up is Tampa Bay at the Texans. Simply put, I don't like CJ Stroud and how he's played in primetime games.
Okay.
I don't I don't like Baker Mayfield. I don't want to pick Tampa Bay to win this game. I really, really don't. I want to find an excuse to pick the Texans, but they didn't give me enough this past week to feel comfortable with it.
Nothing wrong with that, man.
So I'm on Tampa Bay.
Yeah, the way I look at it is Tampa Bay, they're a team they're better than people give them credit for, and they're more stable than people give them credit for. Houston, yeah, their defense has insane potential. Their offense, until they work out that offensive line, is going to have big moments where they just sputter out. And
Mm-hmm.
it sucks. Like we talked about it earlier, Nico Collins, man, they've got guys on that offense, but if you can't protect Stroud and give him time, if you can't open up some running lanes, like it just is never going to come together. And so I'm going Tampa Bay, man.
All right, then we have the 10 p.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m. my time, Monday night game of the Chargers at the Raiders. This one gave me pause. Like I want to root for Pete Carroll. I want to pick Pete Carroll. I like Geno Smith. I like the story of Geno Smith. He had, I like all of it. But the Raiders just they should have put up more points against New England this past week.
I agree.
They should have done more, and they didn't. They won, but they didn't win convincingly against the Patriots, who I think is at the towards the bottom. I think they have a lot of promise. Is that because Vrabel always gets more out of his team and all of Vrabel's teams overperform, or is that a Raiders issue? And I can't tell this early in the season. I liked what I saw with Herbert being able to open up the passing game, contrary to what Harbaugh generally does. Was that just because they were playing the Chiefs and they knew they had to score 700 points to win? They didn't, but you know what I'm saying. Like the Chiefs put up points, so you got to put up the points too. Is that why they were throwing the ball? Were they throwing the ball because that's what the Chiefs, they thought the Chiefs wouldn't expect it? Or is that the Chargers team that's this year? There's questions with both of these teams. I'm going to go with the Chargers, but not. I don't think it's going to be a convincing win.
I got you. Yeah, and I'm going with the Chargers. I've got them near the top of my board now, and I've got the Raiders still fairly low. I think that the Raiders Patriots game showed me that it's kind of what I worried about when I saw the Madden ratings. There's some serious gaps in talent on the roster, and I think that they've got a good coach. I like Pete Carroll, but I think the Chargers have a really stacked roster and a good coach, and so I think Pete Carroll's going to get Geno Smith and everybody to play tight and try to stay in the game as long as they can, but ultimately the Chargers are going to pull away.
All right. And then we'll figure out what day we're doing it next week. But we have Thursday night, Dolphins at the Bills. Something catastrophic has to happen for me to pick the Dolphins or what I've seen from them this year to beat the Bills. Something catastrophic, and I don't see that happening.
Maybe Josh Allen breaks his throwing arm this week, and then we're like, well, maybe there's a chance now. I don't know. But yeah, I'm with you. You got to go Buffalo. And if I just yank Josh Allen, you can call me out on it. So.
All right, that's the picks for the week. We got like 6 minutes left, but any final thoughts?
I'm good, man. I'm good. We banged it out. We're back into a rhythm. It feels good. Keep it rolling, and yeah, we can shut it down here in a minute. We'll talk about the game plan for next week.
All right, sounds good.
All right, bud. Anybody who's watching, hope you like the show. Blah 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 blah.
Gridiron Grinder. Hut hut hike.